Hey guys, Zen here, and today I wanted to talk about pick and ban. Now, my relationship with this system in Rainbow Six Siege has always been dead in the middle. On one side, I understand why it's in the game and the strategic element it adds to the meta, but on the other, I do hear the feedback that it's limiting and should only be in Pro League. That's where it was born and where it should stay. Again, I'm dead in the middle of this discussion, and so in this video, I finally wanted to break the ice and talk about pick and ban as it is today and whether or not it's in need of a rework. So the spark for this whole thing really comes down to two operators, Guevara and Ella. Of course, as you guys know, Ella was recently nerfed. Her FO12 shotgun was dialed back a bit and the recoil was increased a little bit along with the SASG and a couple others, but essentially this was due to the amount of frustration she's causing and mainly to console players. Now, as far as Guevara, she's actually ended up on a small list of operators that have seen an increase in their ban rate, including both Echo and Blitz, and so the devs are looking to adjust and balance them accordingly. Now, the issue with both of these scenarios is that these operators are being looked at, and in Ella's case actually being nerfed, because of the amount of frustration they're bringing to the round. The fact is that neither Ella nor Guevara are very overpowered operators at this time, and sure, Ella definitely had a little bit of an uprising on console, and the power of her shotgun was a little bit more devastating than it is over on PC, but the operator as a complete package hasn't been super strong since back in year 2, where she was one of the best roamers on defense. So this isn't just a blanket statement either. If you look back at the data, neither of these operators are being picked all that much, and the community in general doesn't see much value in choosing them in their ranked games. Now, yes, Ella does have a fairly high win rate, which is really positive for the operator, but you're not seeing her all that much in ranked because of some of her shortcomings. But really, guys, none of this may matter at all, considering an operator like Blitz has landed on this list of operators that need to be adjusted and changed because of their increased ban rate, and so it just solidifies the fact that the driving force behind a lot, if not most, of these changes is operator frustration. Blitz is probably the most changed operator in Rainbow Six Siege. He's actually never gone through a full rework, but if you include all the buffs and nerfs and individual changes that's happened to this operator, I think he deserves that trophy. He started as a 1-speed 3-armor operator and was changed into a 2-speed 2-armor operator with the ability to sprint with the shield up. Pretty much right after that, he received nerf after nerf on how the gadget worked, the flash shield, and really has never been the same since. But where he's at today is pretty much bottom of the barrel. He's one of the worst operators in the game. Outside of Glaz, his win rate and pick rate are the worst out of all of the attackers, and this is kind of where pick and ban takes a complete left turn. The data and the community show that Blitz doesn't need to be nerfed. He really doesn't need to be changed or adjusted at all, and if you want to go particularly just by the data, he needs a buff. He needs something to help make him more competitive and make him a more valuable pick from within the meta. Now, to be honest, if you were to ask a person in a 4-4 match and their rank is on the line, maybe they're ranking up to platinum for the first time, and the enemy team picks Blitz, and that Blitz ends up getting a 2-piece that round, well, then that person is probably going to be very frustrated and during the round probably very uncomfortable and feeling like this operator needs some kind of change, some kind of an adjustment. But guys, that's really just how pick and ban affects the balance of the game, and it does in fact affect the balance of the game. This data gets collected and it does have an effect on how certain operators' gadgets and abilities work throughout the meta. So what about you and I? How does pick and ban affect our everyday ranked games, or really any game at this point in Rainbow Six Siege? Well, once the ban phase begins, nearly 90% of the time you'll see Jackal, Montang, Mira, and Echo being sidelined and taken out of the match. These operators are by far the most popular bans each round, and if you don't see all of them banned, which many of us do, you'll definitely see at least one. For me, this changes pick and ban from what it was designed to be, which is another tactical decision for the match, another way to kind of throw your enemy off guard, and makes it very limiting. At this point, it's just expected. The match starts and the auto click is Jackal. If you just don't know or you're unsure, a lot of players simply choose Jackal basically out of convenience. Most teams would just rather not have him on the map because he makes it very challenging to roam effectively. The reason this is so important now is because Jackal just received his major rework. The design purpose was to make him less frustrating to play against and tone back his ability a bit, and honestly, the devs did an outstanding job at this. But this hasn't changed his ban rate much at all. Now, most of the time, the data kind of speaks for itself. We don't have anything official as of now, but I think the majority can tell Jackal is still a very popular ban, and now that he's reworked, I don't think there's much that can be done about this. The only other thing would be to actually nerf the rest of him, which is very strong. Like his weapons, the C7E is one of the best assault rifles on attack. He also has access to smoke grenades, but is it really necessary? Is it really that Jackal is just a strong operator and needs a nerf so that other operators can be tactically banned? Or is it that his ability is just frustrating in nature, and no matter what, for as long as his gadget works like this, he'll continue to be one of the most popular bans on attack? Now, Mira, the other GEO operator in Rainbow Six Siege, she also struggles with this a bit. In general, Mira is a very balanced operator. Yes, the Black Mirror gadget is incredibly powerful and it offers up a ton of intel to the defensive side, but she does have those very capable counters like Twitch to kind of offset this. Unfortunately, balancing Mira is very complex because she shares her Vector, her main weapon, with Goyo, who isn't nearly as strong or as prevalent as her. Whether a buff or a nerf, it affects both operators equally, and so it adds more layers that makes it difficult for the operators to be changed. Now, Ubisoft haven't come out and said really anything about Mira. They have said or done something about every other operator we've mentioned here, but haven't talked about Mira really at all. I suppose this means that having Mira being the top banned operator on defense is just how it's going to be, I guess, until someone else gets introduced that's more deserving, and then of course they'll always be banned. Now, I know a lot of people simply aren't a fan of pick and ban in ranked. This feedback has been echoed from the first initial announcement that it would be coming after the Road to 6 event when it was first featured. Now, that event actually sold me and probably a lot of you guys on the idea that pick and ban would be a great thing. A lot of people saw it as how the game should have launched in the first place, but of course that was in the earliest stage, and baked in metas like Jackal and Mira constantly being banned wasn't really a thing. Over time, it is just really baked in, and because of this, a lot of the community are looking for a way to change or rework pick and ban to have it make sense for the long term, because I don't see them full on taking it out. Now, the last bit here is about the Pro League, because this is where pick and ban originated and is where I think it's best represented. Pro League and ranked are two totally different beasts. In a lot of ways, Pro League is much more consistent than ranked because most of the time it's the same 5 guys running the same strats that they've developed and constantly scrimming and working to get better. They've practiced the bends and they know the opposition and what operators are crutch for them. Like any other sport, they're working like athletes and always looking for the advantage. Ranked isn't really like that at all, and I think over time it's becoming more apparent that change should be coming to pick and ban so it feels more dynamic and tactical and really just less predictable. Now, guys, I don't want this video to come off as complainy or like I'm against pick and ban in ranked, but I think without a doubt the system needs to be reworked for the future of the game. It's a little nerve-wracking to think that if an operator does launch really strong, and if the community feels it's just a little bit stronger or more frustrating than Jackal on attack or Mira on defense, they'll just always be banned. For a while there, I think a lot of people thought that Kali would be up next for most banned op because she too can be quite frustrating to get caught up with, and maybe with time she will. We'll just have to wait and see. But the biggest point, and where the focus is, at least in my opinion, are operators being nerfed, reworked, and completely changed because of how frustrating they are paired along with ban rates. To be honest, banning an operator at this stage has almost nothing to do with how strong the operator is, and most of the time, the map and objective don't carry a ton of weight in the decision either. I think what pick and ban really needs is just more operators and more time. As time goes on and new ops get introduced into the game, the decision on who to ban becomes endlessly more challenging. If you ban Thatcher today, you still have an operator like Kali to take his place, and particularly with the issue of Jackal and Mira, I think time is the only answer to their issue of constantly being banned. Once we have another one-way mirror or footstep tracking operator, which I highly doubt, but once we do, I think that's the only time you'll see more Mira and Jackal specifically in your ranked games. Currently, we don't, and these operators are exclusive in what they do. Last season, not one time did I naturally see a Jaeger ban. Once my team and I did choose to ban him just to see what it's like, but other than that, it never ever happened. Now that Omai is here though, I have had a few matches that ban one of the two, and it's always been an interesting game. So guys, just to wrap it all up here, pick and ban is very necessary for a game looking for 100 individual operators. Year 5 is an opportunity to make it a better system and to change some of the trends that it's currently following, and I'm hoping that it happens because you Jackal and Echo mains deserve better, and frankly, more playtime. But that's everything, guys. Now I want to hear from you. How do you feel about pick and ban? Is it a system you think needs change? Do you like where it is today? Or do you think it should just be pulled out of ranked altogether? Leave everything in a comment down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen. Thanks for watching. I'm out.